Hi there, my name's Tariana Rocha. I'm a specialist on healing from childhood narcissistic abuse. And this is a series of a few videos where I describe the steps I took in my personal journey of recovery. And I really wanted to record this series of videos because I know that being the daughter or son of a narcissistic parent is a very lonely experience. And, part of this experience is having to lie to yourself about everything being okay when you can tell that it's not. Children aren't dumb. Children notice that there's something wrong. They notice when there's tension in the environment. They notice when they're not accepted, and they internalize these messages, and it becomes the way that they view themselves and the way that they view the world. And oftentimes there's children of narcissistic mothers who haven't even talked to their parents, be it the mother or the father, whoever's the narcissist, in many years, and yet they have the same psychological wounds and the same problems that they used to have when they did have contact with their parents. And this is because we internalize the way that we were treated. And that's what needs to be reframed, reprogrammed, resignified. So in this series of videos, I hope that you can understand how it is that we internalize these voices and how we can go about in a very simple method that takes a while, I'm not going to lie, and it's painful and it involves effort, I'm not going to lie, but it's a pretty simple idea. And the idea is, in order to recover from childhood narcissistic abuse, you discover who you are, because children of narcissists don't have a personality, or they don't have a very well-formed personality. And there are actual steps that you take to discover who you are and to be able to honor that and to make your decisions based on what's right for you and what you know is right for you. And then create an entire life based on those decisions. And it's a process. When you were routinely made to believe that who you are isn't good enough, or there's something wrong with who you are, there's a defect, then you don't trust who you are. And because of this self-disgust, this self-loathing, we don't allow our true selves to express themselves. And this is the only way. This is really unfortunate because it's really the only way to have peace. So I talked about in the two. Sorry guys, lots of noise here in the neighborhood. So in the previous videos, I talked about how I discovered that my mom was a narcissist and what my first reactions were. And the last video was about deciding to go no contact. After I actually went no contact, there was this phase where basically the way that I understand this phase nowadays is, if you recovered from trauma, then your nervous system is going to be wired to always expect pain and always expect danger. This is regularly seen in people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, we have the exact same sort of wounds, psychological wounding and programming, if you were raised by a narcissist, because you went through an extended period of abuse and your whole personality was created on top of abuse. So when you cut ties with the narcissist, with the abuser, you go through this period where there's like an actual psychosis where you hear their voices in your head. And you can actually hear your mom's voice in your head, even if you're not talking to her. And basically what's going on right now is that your whole worldview was based on those messages that you received from your mom. It's just the basis of your personality. And as you cut ties with her, with the intention of healing, your mind understands that you want to move on from all this pain. And so there's going to be like this internal battle where you're going to hear all the same voices that you're used to telling you that you're useless, that you're a horrible person, making you feel guilty, making you feel like you're wrong inside, confused about the next step. This is called cognitive dissonance. It's when your worldview starts falling apart because what you see with your own two eyes, the facts that you can observe don't sustain that worldview anymore. So when you realize that your mom's a narcissist and you realize how much you've been lying to yourself your whole life to pretend that everything was okay, or to pretend that the problem was you or your sister or somebody else, but not your mom, you go through this period where your worldview falls apart because you realize none of that was actually true, and that what went on in your family environment was abuse, prolonged abuse. And this sets off this phenomenon where there's like voices in your head. And so the first set of voices are the voices you're used to hearing. Your mom's voices, if there's another narcissist in the family, or someone who supported the narcissist, you can hear their voices as well. And if you don't actually hear these voices, you tell yourself these same things. And the problem is you believe these things you tell yourself, because our thoughts are so incredibly powerful that we believe them blindly. And if the things that you repeat to yourself are things along the lines of, you have no value, you're worthless, you shouldn't even be alive, there's something wrong with you, then this is what creates your reality. At the same time, because you've made this effort to distance yourself from abuse and to start creating a different life, your true self, and your true self is in the collection of all those parts of yourself that wanted to manifest, that wanted to exist throughout moments of your childhood and your life, but you soon understood that you were not acceptable, and so you learned how to hide or erase all of these parts of yourself in order to walk on eggshells and not set off some sort of emotional reaction from your mom. So your true self never goes away. All of these desires you have, these characteristics you're born with, any mother will confirm that children are not clean slates. We are born with certain characteristics, and those characteristics want to develop, they want to evolve, they want to be made manifest in your physical world, and they start out as things inside of you. And through appropriate mothering, the child feels safe enough to express those parts and develop those parts. If you never express those parts and you never develop those parts, when you decide to heal from childhood narcissistic abuse, your mind is going to understand that you're giving it an order. And the order that you're giving it is for it to start to finally get all of those parts of yourself that were hidden and allow them to come forth. And there's a lot of parts of yourself that were hidden. Some of these parts just contain a whole lot of pain because of things that you never felt before, things you weren't allowed to feel, you didn't allow yourself to feel, things your own mind blocked you from feeling because it was trying to protect you. And so sometimes it comes in pockets of pain. Sometimes it comes in memories, and you start getting flashbacks about moments in your life that you had no recollection of. And sometimes you're also going to hear the voice of your true self. How can I identify the voice of my true self? The voice of your true self can be easily identified by the sensations that it generates inside of you when it's speaking. So for example, when you say something like, you're worthless and you have no right to be alive, you don't deserve to live. When you say those things to yourself, what are the emotional reactions you have, the physiological reactions in your body that you have that you can observe? Generally, you're going to observe some pretty heavy things. It's not going to feel good. You're going to tense up in different spaces. Maybe you won't even breathe properly. Now, when your true self speaks, it says things like, protect yourself. You have the right to your own existence. What you're doing may seem wrong to other people, but it's okay. It's what you have to do in order to heal. And as you tell yourself these things, there's part of you that lights up, and part of you identifies with this voice and knows that it's just the pure truth, even though it seems incredibly hard or even impossible for you to take the actual steps that your true self is telling you to take. Now, the important issue here when you're hearing all of these voices is to be able to identify what's your true self and what's your false self through the sensations that you feel as you hear the voices. Because it's really simple. When you're aligned with your true self, you feel sensations that are light and empowering. So when you're thinking and making decisions that are in tune with your true self, then the things you feel throughout the day are things like gratitude, compassion, love, patience, excitement. You feel all of these things. And it gets to the point where you train yourself to obey those true self voices. And these sensations substitute The other things that maybe you've been used to feeling, things like guilt, shame, terror, resentment or fury, right? Sadness, loneliness. And as you learn how to put your own internal reactions at the center of your existence, and you learn how to consult with those reactions in order to find out what they're telling you. Are these reactions like heavy, uncomfortable reactions? Then I know I'm not doing something that's aligned with my true self. Are these reactions like light, empowering reactions? Then I know I'm doing something that's aligned with my true self. So during this period of the voices, after you've gone no contact or low contact, what's the basic thing that you have to focus on? Identifying which voices are your own and which voices are your mother's voice. And what's the actual act that you have to, the step that you have to take? Not only identifying the voices, but also obeying your true self. So if your true self keeps repeating, you need to protect yourself. You need this. You need. You don't know. I don't know. Go get psychotherapy. Go start. Going to the gym. Leave the house. Whatever it is that your true self is trying to tell you. Get rid of this relationship, this toxic relationship you're in with this narcissistic husband. He's just like your mom. Whatever your true self starts telling you, this needs to be obeyed. Because right now you're being given a choice. And the choice is you either keep doing what you've been doing these past 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I would like to tell you guys that most of my clients are over 50 years old. And I like to tell women and men this because they feel like they've lost their lives, that it's too late and how can they possibly rebuild themselves? No, it's normal. Many people only find out about their mothers being narcissistic when they're 40, 50, 60 years old. So you're in good company, okay? And so this is the decision you're making. If you keep on following what your toxic voices tell you, then you're going to be one of those people who cuts ties with their mom, and you go 10 years without talking to her, but you still feel suicidal. You still feel like you don't have the right to exist. Now, when you actually reprogram the toxic self-talk that goes on and is left over in here, and you start always obeying your true self, taking tiny little steps to always obey your true self, you get like a really obvious confirmation from life and from the sensations inside of you that this is what's going to empower you. Because every time you're given a choice and your false self is telling you, you're an idiot, you should feel guilty, you should feel shame, and you're like, no, you know what? This is not my voice. Let me hear what my voice is saying. Oh, my voice is saying that I should take up writing. I don't know. Whenever you obey this and you reject this voice and you substitute it with your true self's voice, human behavior is just like a muscle. That means that thing that you repeat eventually becomes stronger and stronger, and it becomes automated. So if your whole life you've been strengthening the self-talk, the toxic self-talk muscle, that's what's really strong. So every time the voices come, if you decide you're going to strengthen the true self-talk, right, and you strengthen it by listening to it and by obeying it, then it becomes really, really, really strong. And it gets to a point where it's not the toxic self-talk that comes first when you need to fix a problem. It's the loving self-talk. It's the self-talk that always wishes for the best, that finds solutions, and that believes in you, and that tells you to never give up. So yeah, this is the third part in the series of videos on my personal journey of recovery from childhood narcissistic abuse. Let me know if it was useful for you, if it helped you in any way, how it helped you. Please write your insights in the comments below. If you thought the video was useful, then share it. This is a really taboo subject, particularly in countries like Brazil, where family values are at the core of society. So you can never badmouth your mom, but it's not about badmouthing our moms. It's about being able to exist and giving ourselves permission to exist. So share the video, like the video if you thought it was useful. If you want to talk about this in a safe environment, there is a Facebook group, and the link is in the description of this video, so you can just click on that. And there's also a mailing list where I share some exclusive content, and I make some exclusive offers over there. So if you want some actionable tidbits of wisdom in your inbox, then make sure to subscribe to my mailing list as well. And I also offer counseling, one-on-one counseling, and also group workshops that are aimed at identifying your true self and learning how to obey it, and learning how to have your true self be your maximum internal authority. I give you actual steps on how to do this, and you get to confirm whether these steps work or not, because they change permanently the sensations that you're used to carrying around inside, and they change the way that you see yourself and the way that you see the world. So if you're interested in that as well, write me an email and I'll get in touch explaining how this program works. Well, that's it for today, guys, and there's still going to be maybe one or two more videos. I think maybe just one more video where I talk about the rest of this journey of recovery. Let me know if I can help you with anything specific. If you have any ideas for videos, let me know in the comments. And see you guys next time.